So, now that we've seen the interlude, and we've seen Selena's past, and how she got to be who she is now, let's see. What's going on with her affection story. And yes, I did my dailies already. Ooh, that's a different start. Dear stranger, I know you might be confused seeing this in your mailbox. If you're too busy to work or have no time for stuff like this, feel free to toss this letter into the trash. But if you happen to have some free time or are looking for a way to kill time, please consider flipping over to page 2. On a random day, you receive a letter from a stranger in your personal mailbox. Most people in this day and age wouldn't send handwritten letters unless it was a confidential document. For one, it's a waste of resources, and for another, it's not instantaneous. But this letter clearly isn't of the confidential sort. The royal blue ink, the soft, smooth sheet, the elegant cursive letters, and the faintly woody scent of powder. It's all too exquisite and meticulous, almost as if it were a message from another world. Letters have almost been completely replaced by comms in this era. A formal letter like this is exceedingly rare, only glimpsed in movies filmed in the previous century. Who would use such antiquated way of communication? Feeling confused, you slowly flip over to the next page. I'm glad you're reading this line. This means this letter hasn't ended up crushed in the trash can. Please don't get me wrong, this is not a prank. Truth be told, I'm looking for a pen pal. I'm not sure if you know what a pen pal is. I only learned of it recently when I saw it in a book from the Center of Basic Public Education's library. Hello, and yep, we're doing the affection story now. We just finished the interlude. Basically, pen pals build a friendship by writing letters to each other. People say that a long time ago, before the information age arrived, people would write letters to communicate across vast distances. Has anyone else ever had a pen pal? This was something that they did when I was in elementary school, where we would be assigned a random pen pal from a different school and we would write letters to each other. Interesting. Perhaps you might think that such an inefficient and costly way of communicating is tedious and a waste of time. But when I saw this method, it just seemed so... The next word was crossed out several times, but it was obvious that the writer was weighing their words over and over. Romantic. Romantic, yes, that's right. It's the type of romance that we lack in this era. An era in which everyone is always in a hurry in pursuit of maximum levels of efficiency. The act of finding stillness and putting your thoughts on paper is simply inconceivable. There are even times when I feel that the written word is better than spoken language when it comes to expressing what's deep in your heart. No matter where I am, things like good etiquette and upbringing weigh heavily on my shoulders, smothering me. It's only when I'm writing that I can cast off those shackles and be myself. The words I can never speak, the feelings inside I can never say out loud, the written word will say what my voice can't. What's more, I won't have to deal with the immediate reaction from others, nor will I feel ashamed of the unseemliness of my actions. I can write whatever I want on paper, and the words that appear on the page reflect who I am inside. I seem to be blabbering, forgive me for being so immature as to get overexcited and let my emotions get the better of me over such a small matter. Anyway, since you've read up to this point, you should already have guessed. I would like you, a stranger, to be my pen pal. At first I was thinking of trying out this method of communication with my friends, but I came to realize that it was too deliberate, making it more awkward than it should be. So I started contemplating sending this letter to a random address in Eden, to a stranger I've never met. I don't need to know who you are, neither do you need to know who I am. all we have to do is use this antiquated but simple method of communication to slowly get to know each other. Let me briefly introduce myself. I'm Iris, and as you probably guess, this is not my real name, but rather a pen name. Well, that's enough about me. After all, you might not want to know everything about a stranger's life all at once. Perhaps we can talk about our hobbies in our next letter, and share what we're passionate about. I've attached a return envelope and a blank sheet of paper with this letter. I hope to hear from you. If you're too busy with work, don't worry about it. This shouldn't be an onerous process. All you have to do is write your thoughts on the subject down. Be really happy with just that. Yours faithfully, Iris. The envelope contains a folded envelope and letter. For some reason, you decide to sit before your desk. Pick up a pen and write a response. From the other end of Babylonia, the young girl is pacing around the room with the letter grasped tightly in her hand. Someone actually replied. So is this a young Selena? This is before a construct, before she became so worried from doing her first opera. This is innocent young Selena just reaching out, making connections. Oh, this is really far in the past. That's interesting. I wonder if the Commandant's gonna recognize Selena when meeting her, like something she says or does. She suddenly throws herself onto her bed, burying her face in the pillow. After quite some time, she finally looks up in the dim light and peeks at the letter in her hands, as if it were a real person and not just an object. She didn't actually have high hopes of receiving a reply when she sent the letter. That's why she's completely overjoyed right now, to the point of blushing. Yeah. Taking a deep breath, Selena gently opens the letter and couldn't help averting her gaze for a moment. After calming herself down, she covers her eyes and peeks through the gaps between her fingers at the letter paper spread out on the bed. Iris. Hello, thank you for your letter. My name is Nimnim. It's me. She reads every word aloud and softly repeats the name in the signature. Nimnim. A gentle smile quietly blossoms on her face. Well, that was cute. Wonder where this is gonna go. Is this just gonna be back and forth letters? Or is this gonna go to the present time and she's gonna remember it? Oh, I really hope this shows up in the main story. I'm not overly confident because there hasn't been too much from these affection stories that shows up in the main story, but I really hope it does. It'd be interesting if she says something and the Commandant calls her, or if you have options, right? You'll have options on the right. If one of those options is to call Selena Iris, I will have a big grin on my face when we're doing story stuff. But again, that might have to wait until next week, because this is taking way longer than I expected. Dear Nimnim, you don't know how elated I was to receive a reply from you. It's been no more than 2 days since I first sent the letter. Babylonia really is small, isn't it? But just the weight itself made me realize why people in the olden days used to be so fond of communicating through letters. The act of waiting heightens emotions akin to watching fruit ripen. It fills one with anxiety and expectations. Perhaps it's not highly efficient, but it's worth the wait. I'd like to once again formally introduce myself. My pen name is Iris, and I'm emphasizing my name for the second time because I'd like to share with you the meaning behind this name. Something I didn't do in my first letter. I chanced upon this beautiful name while reading The Tempest. You may have heard of this opera, but in any case, I am so glad we did the interlude first. Please let me provide you with an excerpt. Is it going to be one we've seen already? Then there was a series of beautiful transcriptions. The person who wrote this letter even changed the color of the ink to write this poetic text. Ceres, the goddess of fertility, I am the rainbow in the sky, and I am the envoy of the Queen of Heaven. The Queen of Heaven in the clouds sent a message to ask you to leave your supple field where wheat, barley, rye, oats, wild beans, and peas flourish. Thy turfy mountains where live nibbling sheep, and flat meads thatched with stover, them to keep. Thy banks with peoned and twilled brims, which spongy April thy hest betrims, to make cold nymphs chaste crowns, and thy broom groves. Those shadow the dismissed bachelor loves, being last lorn, thy pole-clipped vineyard, and thy sea-marge sterile and rocky hard, where thou thyself dost err, Queen of the sky, whose watery arch, messenger am I, bids thee leave these, and with her sovereign grace, here on this grass plot, in this very place, come and sport, her peacocks fly amain, approach, rich Ceres, her to entertain. Writing here and now, even the pen tip and pressure have become more soft. These are lines from The Tempest. Iris is the goddess of the rainbow and the emissary of the gods. The rainbow bridges heaven and earth. It conveys people's joys and sorrows to the gods and spreads their gospel to the world. I'm fascinated by both the things that Iris symbolizes as well as the stanza itself. I've never seen the things it mentions, so I keep fantasizing about them and imagining what they're like. If their names are already so perfect, imagine how beautiful they would be in real life. Suddenly, with a turn of the pen, my apologies, I'm rambling on and on about my interests again. This has always been a bad habit of mine, or at least that's what my parents often say. It's the whole point of having a pen pal. Let yourself out. I just want to share what I lost most with you. I love operas. I love the stuff that exists only in stories and in imagination. And what about you? What is it that you love? Thank you for the posture check and hydrate. Oh. A pen. Iris, hello. I heard this name before. It also symbolizes something else. The flower, Iris. Have you ever seen one? It's for what I love. And then it's gonna be open-ended. It's not gonna tell you because it's for you. I really want a pen pal like Selena. Having a real pen pal like this would be really nice. I think my biggest issue with having a pen pal like this is me personally. As much as I would love to have a pen pal to just write to and get to know that way, if I got to know them well enough, I would probably want to call, right? I'd want to get to know them better. I'd want to be real friends with them and not just a pen pal. I like making connections to people. So I don't know how well I could keep up doing pen pal stuff now. But it's definitely something I've thought of before, because it'd be nice. I'm definitely one of those people, I like to slow down. I like rushing and being super efficient all the time is just not healthy. And just taking the time to do things calmly, it's so healing. I'd love to do just simple writing like this. I don't think my hand would like it, because I don't write often enough. My hand cramps too quick. You've been writing with a pen pal named Iris for some time. Relying on the fragmentary information between the lines, you slowly piece together the overall image of her. She likes art, music, literature, opera, instrumental performance, singing. In a time like this, when the punishing virus has taken away everything, the act of loving these things is an extravagance in and of itself. She's an innocent little girl who has never experienced any setbacks in life. She does not have to worry about anything other than herself. Only a greenhouse free of any contaminants would be able to produce such innocence. a flower of Eden that knows nothing of the real world. She lives in a perfect world, so even if you do not see things her way, you would not want to destroy the perfection she lives in. And you cannot avoid slowly opening up about your life as you send letters back and forth. You have started asking and answering each other's questions in those letters. In your last letter, you imagined the words like FOS. Later, I went back to learn more about it. With all due respect, Nimnim, were you a student at FOS Military Command College? Are you a soldier? Your writing is very special, sharp, beautiful, and full of power. That's why I have this speculation. As your writing suggests, you certainly have a strong will. I hope to become just like you, so resolute and determined. Let's talk about me then. I don't have my life planned out. But it is said that on turning 18, every resident of Eden will be allocated to a suitable job by Gestalt. I've been thinking about what kind of person I want to become. If I do nothing and go along with Gestalt's affinity and suitability matching data, letting it determine my future, my life would probably be very dull. As mentioned previously, I love operas. Using the libretto and music to convey your inner world to others, I feel that it's an especially meaningful endeavor. What do you think? It's so interesting getting to know her character this way. And it does make me miss pen pal stuff. And yeah, same thing, Kai. Back in elementary school, we did pen pal things. It was short, because it was only for one grade, right? I can't remember what grade it was, but back in elementary school, we had a pen pal that we wrote to that, as far as I know, it was a student from another school. The schools worked together to exchange the letters. But, yeah. Especially now that I'm trying to find things to help keep me calm and relaxed and just enjoy life. It's something I definitely consider. Let's see. Part 3. Your letters have not been especially frequent. Sometimes you get one a week, sometimes one the entire month. There have even been times when you receive a letter and forget to reply until much later. In any case, the letters between Iris and you have never stopped. Like an hourglass, the grains of time kept slipping by, and recently the innocent little girl has been showing greater maturity. You've begun to grow ever closer. Despite this, Iris has never overstepped the boundaries. One could argue that you were close, but then again, you have never met. One could also argue that you were not close, but then again, being pen pals, you know each other's deepest secrets. One day, Iris started sending gifts along with her letters. They were generally trinkets. Our teacher at the Center of Basic Public Education took us to the greenhouse today for an observation. In a sense, it was to provide hands-on education in understanding the makeup of plants. It was my first time seeing such vibrant flowers in bloom, and in that moment, all I could think of was how true that line was. God expects answers for the flowers he sends us, not for the sun and the earth. Oh yes, and among those flowers was a purple one that was exceedingly beautiful. It might have been an iris, a flower you previously mentioned. It was my first time seeing something so beautiful. My teacher plucked that flower and deconstructed it so that we could understand what was inside. Its remnants were scattered within a petri dish for us to observe, and looking at it, I lost my desire to learn more. I just felt lost and miserable. Although from logical perspective the flower had fulfilled its purpose, we had maximized the benefits gained from its existence, and I suppose something good came out of it. But I feel it shouldn't have been that way. Perhaps there could have been a more fitting end for it. Let it silently bloom and be held in appreciation by those who view it, before withering with no regrets. The life cycle of a flower is nothing short of a miracle. But we can't spare the time to admire this miracle. We've been educated to use the most efficient method to achieve our goal and get the results. We've lost the ability to admire beauty in our pursuit of maximum efficiency. This disheartens me. And then I started relating that to myself. My music, my opera, my art, everything about me doesn't seem to hold any value in this world. They won't be of help to anyone, nor will anyone take notice of them. Should I even continue doing these? I'm at a loss. Oh, he had self-doubt so far back. But just like the beauty affected her, it affects everyone. Morale is important. Being happy and confident. What do you think, Nimnim? Oh yes, I begged the teacher to leave me the remnants of the flower, took them home, dried them, and put them back together to make a bookmark. I can't be sure whether I'll ever see such a beautiful flower again, so I wedged it between the folds of the letter, and I hope you'll be able to smell its lingering fragrance. Are we gonna get a picture of it? There's a dried flower contained within the letter. Even though the color has faded, the beautiful purple still remains, ever vivid, within its grooves. You place it on your desk, then pick up your pen to continue writing. Iris. I wonder if you have ever heard such a saying. Keep moving forward. Do not linger to gather and preserve the petals. Paved is your path, with flowers blooming as nature intends. After a brief while, you receive a reply. Thank you for your letter, Nimnim. You don't know how much those words meant to me. You're absolutely right. Just simply wanting will never result in anything, so I've chosen to take action. You can't make excuses for yourself to escape by simply not having a stage, an actor, or the fear of being misunderstood. I can't keep burying myself, my creative work, and forget that it's more important to use them to reach out to others. Therefore, I plan to use robots to perform the opera that I wrote and reproduced. I contacted the manager of the virtual exhibition hall, and they agreed to provide me with an area to hold my performance. Tomorrow will be the premiere, and truth be told, I'm feeling very nervous. I'm confident in my project, but I'm also terrified of the criticism and lack of understanding I'll get. The contradiction within my heart is tormenting me. By the time you read this, I'll probably have already performed the first show at the exhibition hall. Nimnim, do you think it will be a success? No matter whether it'll be successful, I just hope that as you read this letter, you'll pray for my success. Even though we've never met, I feel that right now you're the person that understands me most. Phew, the letter is sent. She then looks at the robot beside her. Time to fight my battle. She closes her eyes and looks resolutely at the exhibition hall. Oh, she wrote this right before! My dearest Nimnim, I don't know how to express my inner joy with you. Only at this moment I think these words lack in a tenor. I keep imagining that if you were to be standing in front of me at this moment, I would hug you and share my happiness with you. Such elegant writing, like a soaring dragon and dancing phoenix etched within the paper, so warmly proclaims the happiness and enthusiasm of the writer. I can't help but be thankful that I wasn't about to do it. Otherwise, others would consider my actions inappropriate. Not long ago, I mentioned my decision to perform my opera at the virtual exhibition hall. To be honest, it got off to a terrible start. Nobody wanted to stop and spend time watching something like that. I was despondent, and then a girl showed up. She gave me affirmation. She said my opera was fascinating. She wanted to see what would happen next. She was an artist, and even said she wanted to help provide illustrations for the scenes. My work inspired another creator to produce a new artwork. There's no greater honor than this. I feel so happy. It's the most precious thing in the world. From that moment on, my feelings of despondency vanished. I still felt that it's all been worth it. So what if I only have an audience of one? I'll continue creating new works and writing operas. Oh right, her name is... The line is scratched out forcefully. Yeah. No, I shouldn't give you her name without her permission. In any case, we've become very close friends, so let me just call her A. I wish I could introduce A to you. You'd like her, I'm sure. And she'd definitely like you too. Perhaps there's no need for introductions. After all, Babylonia is pretty small, and who knows, we might already have met somewhere. Perhaps when we actually meet someday, we'll stare at each other's face and simultaneously exclaim, "Oh, so that was you back then." So cute. I really hope this shows up in the main story. I really, really hope that as the Commandant, you get to, if you run into Selena, you get to call her Iris. I really want that scene. And I'm curious if she'd even remember after everything she's been through. But that was only halfway. See what else happens. From that day on, the girl named A frequently appears in Iris's letters. Through those letters, you can feel Iris's joy at finding a best friend. The days go by, and through the descriptions in the letters, the other girl starts to take shape. From time to time, she and Iris would have a huge fight over some minute differences in ideas, yet the next moment they would spend all day and night deep in discussion because they found new common ground. To think that in a world like this, there are people who are bothered by things like this. While thinking about how inconceivable this is, you also feel a subtle sense of gratitude. Oh my gosh. It's like seeing flowers blooming in a briar of thorns. It's heartwarming. It does not know what a tempest is, nor does it need to know. Knowing that they're both doing well is enough for you. Both Iris and A have been getting busier. They're pursuing their own ideals, working to forge their own path in these unforgiving times. It's been a while since my last letter to you, Nim Nim. Please forgive my recent lack of correspondence. It's just that, after things started falling in place, I haven't had much time to myself. The World Government Association of Art contacted me recently, telling me they really love my operas. They're giving me an opportunity to have my play performed in the Grand Opera House of Babylonia. As such, I've been spending my days and nights making preparations, writing the libretto, composing the music. I've decided to base it on the Acadia evacuation. A is helping me as well, of course. Every day we discuss how to set up the scenery so that everything's perfect. I've gained enough experience. I've never doubted my own talent. I have absolute confidence in myself. But for some reason I can't explain, I'm panicking. My audience is growing larger, cheering for me and supporting my operas. But this panic feels like quicksand, pulling me deeper and deeper in. It's pressure. I don't know why I'm panicking. I've pondered over it for a long time, but I don't know what it is I'm missing. I don't dare to unload this on A. She's busy concentrating on her own art. I can't disturb her at this time. In the past, when I gazed up at the stars in the sky, all I saw was unparalleled beauty. But now, when I gaze up at those same stars, all I feel is an unbearable emptiness. That's... with the ending of the interlude, that has so much more meaning. My opera will be performed the day after tomorrow, and yet here I am, cowering. I feel so lost, and so I write to you for help. This is incredibly selfish of me. How could I be so mean as to heap my problems on you? But I trust you unconditionally. You've always been so strong. You've always managed to get me on track. Please tell me, Nim Nim, what is it that I'm missing? Thank you for the posture check and hydrate. There's an opera ticket attached to the letter. If you can make it, please come and see my show. I'd hoped that our first meeting wouldn't be under such dire circumstances, but alas, it's unavoidable. I want to... The following sentence repeats several times. Written down, then erased. Written down, then erased again. Written down, and erased once more. Her hesitation and urgency are only veiled with a sheath of paper. All the contradiction eventually boiled down to a desperate plea for help. I want to see you, Nim Nim. Cricket. We couldn't make it, could we? But it backfired. Follow-up missions and lengthy combat exercise have kept you busy every day. You do not even have time and opportunity to check your mail, let alone attend a date. Another month passes in the blink of an eye. You open your mailbox, find it stuffed full of letters. They are all from Iris. You open each one carefully, reading through them. Oh no. I wonder if she thought that person that didn't clap was you. I wonder if that's why it hit her so bad. You weren't in my audience, I'm pretty sure of that. Okay, maybe she didn't. Because even though we've never met, I'm sure I can recognize your face at a glance. I'd been waiting for you, but I didn't see you, even when the performance ended. I guess you didn't have time. I believe you didn't have time. You're a soldier, so it must have been something you had no say in. That's what I tell myself. Although I must admit I was dismayed. I'm really glad you didn't come to see the opera. It was such a novice attempt, so much so that I wouldn't feel comfortable showing it to you. Had you seen it, you would have been disappointed in me. I feel like if the Commandant saw it, she wouldn't have gone down the path that she did. After the performance ended, I found the reason for my panic. Using the libretto and music to convey your inner world to others, I feel that is a especially meaningful endeavor. I seem to have written this in one of my previous letters, didn't I? I've been in such a hurry that I ended up becoming the type of person I used to dislike. Along the way, I somehow lost sight of my ideals and dreams. I've stopped examining every libretto I wrote, and my arrogance hurt others. This pains me. A long time ago, I felt Babylonia was such a small place. So much so that sending letters never took more than a day. Now more than ever, I realize why it's so small. It comes across as comfortable and cozy because I've been a frog in a well. From my limited perspective, I depicted a ridiculous representation of the world and actually thought it was the real thing. If I want to capture the real world on canvas and create art, I shouldn't stay here. Only the experience of hell can exercise the power to create heaven. Only through the blood of the fingers can the world pop into existence. Someone once said that. I strongly believe this, and so I've made the biggest decision of my life. I wish you could be physically here with me and listen to me telling you this, and then just as always tell me what I should do. But this time I can't wait any longer. This is my decision and my responsibility to bear. I can't push them onto you. Waiting is no longer a pleasant experience, but a torture. Do not linger to gather flowers to keep them, but walk on, for flowers will keep themselves blooming all your way. You once told me that. I'm moving forward, Nimnan. Perhaps this will be the last letter. If this isn't, well, the next time I send you a letter, I'll be a brand new me. I believe there will be a day when we will meet, that I'm sure. I've attached a pen with this letter, the pen I've been using all this while. I've clutched it all day and night, contemplating how best to write you this letter. When you use it, it'll be as if I was holding your hand close to my heart. Yours faithfully, Iris. Hello Theo, and hello Mikiyuki. This letter is like a final farewell. Almost immediately you pick up her pen and begin to write a reply. Iris. Art is the gentlest way of safeguarding the human soul. You might doubt yourself now, but don't turn your back to everything. Being able to endure this hardship has made you all the more radiant. We will meet someday. I wonder if Selena ever got that. 2 more pieces. Many months later, Iris, who had vanished without a trace for a long time, finally sent another letter. My dear Nimnim. God, these fucking telemarketers. I never thought I'd have a chance to send you another letter. Thank you for your kind words, even though I received it months after you sent it. My soul still got a modicum of comfort. There's something I have to tell you. I have become a construct. Yes, I chose to become a construct, and the whole process went smoothly. That's why I can still write to you like before. Given how things are, there's no need to hide this anymore. I've joined WGAA's archaeological team. Becoming a construct has been an unbelievable experience, as if my perspective of the world has changed overnight. Sometimes I'm not even sure if the person writing to you is the same old me. Not long ago, I learned how to use a weapon in battle. It may just be a support construct, but at least I have the strength to protect others now. I thought that by becoming a construct, I'd be able to fight in battle and partake in missions. Perhaps even meet you someday on the battlefield and use the strength I have to protect you. But it seems this hasn't been the case. The archaeological team doesn't need to be on the front lines. Most of our time is spent investigating relics from human history, recycling and repairing them. But it's fine. I wouldn't feel comfortable meeting you while I'm still getting used to this body. I'd like to be my best self when I meet you, so please be patient. I have so much to tell you, and words can no longer express these feelings. I wish to tell all of this to you in person. Actually, the World Government Association of Art is holding a ball next month. Would you be my dance partner? Yours sincerely, Iris. Pick up a pen, write a response. That damn well better be her pen. Iris, I'm glad you're on track. Regarding the ball, I'm honored. However, you receive a reply the following day. Are you busy that day or something? There is something I must tell you. There's no need to worry about trivial matters. The purpose of dancing is to have fun, not to perform. Oh, did I say that I can't dance? Whoops. Besides, there's no one in this world who doesn't know how to dance. It all boils down to whether you're willing to or not. As long as you're willing, no matter how much of a beginner you are, I'll be able to lead you through the most perfect dance. My education has trained me to lead and follow in dance, no matter whether it is tango, waltz, or rumba. There's no dance that I'm not able to do. Perhaps I didn't have the strength before, but now I can easily twirl you around. Oh my gosh. All you have to do is trust me, follow my moves, and it'll all go smoothly. If they ever actually meet, then it's settled. This is the address. Don't stand me up again. I'll be waiting for you. Oh god, please don't be busy on the day of. I'll be wearing an iris behind my ear. You'll recognize me for sure. The time to meet has arrived. There are bright lights outside the WGAA. In the exquisite courtyard, there are groups of association members. There are constructs and humans alike. Standing for what feels like ages at the door, there's no sign of the girl with an iris pinned behind her ear. Was this when she was sent on the mission? Ow, it's rude, don't hit me. The melodious orchestra filled the venue, playing a One Step Away, a classic tango song. Perhaps you really are one step away, because the dance has ended and she still has not shown up. You open your mailbox when you're home. There was a letter that had just arrived. Take a look. I'm sorry, I really am. President Allen suddenly assigned me to a mission at a moment's notice. Babylonia is about to transit the space station's orbit. As a member of the archaeological team, I was appointed to retrieve intel on the space station. The situation is urgent. I'm leaving soon. I can't go to the dance. I wanted to break the news to you immediately, but I realized that other than your address, I didn't have any other way to contact you. Sometimes I get really annoyed with myself. Why was I so fixated on this ritual in the first place? So much so that I didn't even ask you for your comms account. I don't know when you'll receive this letter, but by the time you see it, I'll probably have set off. Feels like every time we're about to meet, something like this happens. And each time we miss the chance because something crops up. There's so much I haven't told you. Please wait for me, and next time, I'll definitely make it happen. Selena, what are you up to? We need to get going. The members of the task force is getting impatient. I'm sorry, I'm writing. Selena seals the letter with hot wax and hurriedly stands up. Sorry for keeping you waiting. Let me send this letter and I'll report for duty. It's so pressing. Don't tell me that you're writing your last will and testament like a soldier about to go on an expedition. We're just the archaeological team, after all. Of course not. It's just a personal letter. Is this a love? Please don't make fun of me. Selena's voice takes on a rare, reproaching tone, but she makes no attempt to deny it. Little did anyone know that a smile even more beautiful than an iris was spreading across her lips, betraying her true emotions. However, the Flower of Eden didn't know that this was the calm before the storm. It was also the last time she could ever smile like this. Hey, don't discredit the future. Oh boy. Okay, I'm gonna say this now. I'm gonna highly recommend people should unlock this and do this before the interlude. It's almost the prequel to the interlude. I mean, I guess you get something out of it no matter which one you do first, but if you want it in chronological order, doing this one first makes sense. But, holy crap, okay. Is she gonna write a letter while on the space station, or is this gonna be a big time skip? Let's see. From that day on, everything about Iris has completely vanished. If the letters are not piled up in the cabinet, you might even think that this person is but a figment of your imagination. Time flies. Everything to do with that girl has been buried in the corner of your mind. Oh, is this gonna lead to you going to the space station? A letter equally strange and familiar arrives in your mailbox. It comes across as strange because the envelope and paper used are too coarse. There's even dirt on them. At the same time, the handwriting is familiar, for it has been etched into your memory. The content of the letter is exceedingly simple. It bears only location coordinates and a dried iris. However, the letter unlocks a dam of long-forgotten memories, and the words of past letters written gush forth, filling your mind. It all feels like it happened yesterday. You carry out the private investigation into the coordinates and find out that they are close to a recovered city, 7-5. There are no corrupted, nor are there high levels of punishing virus. You prepare yourself to head out to the coordinates on your own. Is something gonna happen? Please don't. It's probably an abandoned opera house. Even though it's already been reduced to ruins, the place has a certain charm to it. It's completely silent. The only light is from the moon shining down through the hole in the roof. Follow the light forward. Could she be here? You step into the opera house. She has her back to you, standing under the moonlight. Hearing the sound of footsteps, the girl slowly turns around. A pair of iris-colored eyes gaze at me. Iris was right. Even though the two of you have never met, you both immediately know that she is the one who has been waiting for you, and you, her. The girl doesn't speak, but holds out her hand. There's no need for questions nor words. When she reaches out to you, you know what it means. You put your hand in hers and cannot help shivering from its coldness. Well, the title screen picture. But she does not let go. She starts gently humming a song and leading me into a slow dance. The tune is languid and gentle, like a whisper between lovers. There's a bit of stumbling around at the beginning, but she takes your clumsiness in stride, firmly but gently guiding you through the steps. And so you slowly get the hang of her rhythm. Just as she has said in her letter, she is an amazing lead. Or perhaps you should say that she has become an amazing lead. Suddenly, there's a change in pitch, and the rhythm becomes tenser and more passionate. She's also changed roles, moving from lead to follow, leaving herself in your hands. And so you have to change your role too, mimicking her steps from before as the lead. The funny thing is that it's not at all exhausting. It seems that you will always know what the next step is when you dance with her. It is just like those years when you comforted her, encouraged her, watched over her, and guided her. You tilt your head looking straight at her. Those clear, bright eyes gaze right back at you. Her eyes no longer hold the innocence she once had, the romance is still alive. She's changed, yet remains the same. The only thing you can be sure of is that one step away, the distance between us has now been traversed. Is this after the tragedy now? Considering they showed the body and they said that it was on the planet, that has to be after she was reconstructed. So that was her after she won against the punishing virus, after she was repaired, after she's wandering around. She's on the Earth, barely able to remember things, but she somehow got a letter to you to invite you to a dance. I really hope this sort of stuff comes up in the story. I really hope it does. That was a really good one. And I stand corrected. After seeing that last one, definitely interlude than this. Definitely. I don't care about the chronological crap. Unless you do up to 5. If you did 1 through 5, then you did the interlude, and then you did 6, that would work. But you definitely need to see the interlude before you get to 6. But holy crap, that was really, really good. Maybe this might be a little bit of recency bias, just because not only is this one just read, but I just read the interlude too. But the pair of them, how well they work together, that might be my favorite. That might be my favorite. It's also just very me. Again, I've done pen pal stuff in the past, and I'd probably do it again if I ever got the chance. Like, it's a very me one, but it's so good. Yeah, she was still able to do it. I kinda wonder how much of this is gonna show in the story. Oh, I'm so curious